we got into the ads, Destiny had something super dark to jump into.
I don't know if you guys ever got into this shit. When I fucked my brain on this shit growing up. But this, I feel like this is a safe space for dark topics. Okay, more so than most groups of people I talk to. You ever spend like hours of your life watching like these incredibly fucked up like death websites? You ever do this shit?
Yeah, we did a show on that.
We watched them on the line.
Okay, I'm a little uncomfortable with Woody's response there. That seemed a little bit too into.
I won the thing. I was like, I made it to the end comfortably.
Yeah,
there was the worst one. We've talked about it a dozen times. Is the Russian one where they kill him with like a hammer and a screwdriver?
3 guys and a hammer.
Oh, with the eyes and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That one's terrible. It really just takes a chip of your soul and removes it.
Have you seen the one? Sometimes I wonder, like, what the fuck these people did? Where they like reach into this guy's stomach and they reach up and they take his heart out and they punch it out of his fucking body?
Yes.
What the fuck?
We watched that the other week. Is that where his arms and legs are cut off, or just his arms?
Yeah, I
cut
think
off
they
as
are.
well?
Yeah.
We watched.
But that wasn't even the most shocking part of the video. It was actually, I'm watching a video where a guy's arms have freshly been cut off, and it's not even close to ranking as the most fucked up part of the video. Like, holy shit.
Oh, but
we had
some of those videos just upset you.
Do you remember they made a salad out of a human? Right? The Mexican cartel did it. It was actually a photo, not a video, so that takes away from it. But you're like, how do you make a salad with like human parts as an ingredient? So instead of just like leaves of lettuce, they would have like heads of lettuce, and then like a human head, and then like a human forearm, and an entire tomato. They wouldn't cut the salad pieces, and proportionally, it was a decent like chicken salad, but really large, with your loved one in it.
Jesus Christ. And what do they do? Just like leave this giant salad on your front door?
Yeah. Well, I think it was a message to the other people. This is the Mexican cartel. If I remember the context of bringing it up, we were like, hey, what if the Mexican cartel didn't like ISIS? And those two started butting heads. Who would end up on top there? It's a real clash of the titans.
I always joke about this, but like, if the cartels were Muslim, like, we would have been down there so quickly. But because it's just like Mexican shit, we absolutely couldn't give a fuck less. But like, if there was actually like the Islamic cartel down there in Mexico instead of just like Mexicans, holy shit, yeah, we would be all over that shit. Jesus, those people are. I think so. Those guys would like kill like school buses full of kids and shit. Those people are fucking crazy.
I hear you, but the reason we don't like Muslims is 9/11. Prior to that, we really had no opinion. Then they killed us.
Yeah, maybe, sure.
Yeah. So until the Mexican cartels knock down, Sears Roebuck Tower or something.
I feel like the cartels are so powerful, though. Like they're running huge sections of that government, and so like they've got to have some like diplomatic relations with U.S. politicians and shit that would prevent us from going too hard on them, right?
Oh, maybe. I'm not too sure about that, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, it's a good. I like your conspiracy. I see where you're going with that. Because I'll
chalk that up as fact and believe it for the rest
You're
of
like, Mexican cartels are so powerful. I'm like, not compared to the United States Marines. But when you do the conspiracy route and say, they're friends with the senator, then suddenly it can work.
Like it's not conspiratorial to say they are like friends
embedded
with
in the government,
Mexican
at the very least,
the Mexican government. Yeah.
Right. But I think that you took another step, right? You said that. I thought you were saying American politicians. Maybe
no, I'm saying that then they could use those Mexican politicians to influence American politicians. Be like, oh, it's not even as bad as you're thinking down here, and we're actually taking a lot of measures to take care of this on our own. Don't bother. Stay away.
That will not work with our current government. I don't think there's, there are diplomatic ties between Trump and Mexico.
Yeah, that's true.
Those cartels are just. I'm trying to think of more brutal videos.
I'm really curious now because I have an answer, and most people seem to agree after we bring it up. What is like the most disturbing video you think you've seen?
It's that Russian one.
Yeah?
The Russian one's there. There's also an ISIS one where they execute just like 38 people or something like that, just shooting them in the back of the head. And sometimes in a position like that, I think of myself like, what do you do if you're
when you're like the last one?
Yeah, I was going to say 22, but right? Like when your fate, what's your move there? You're gagged, I think, and your hands are bound. Yeah. So you're not going to like MacGyver your way out of this, or Captain America, or whatever it would take.
On some level, you're probably just like deer in the headlights. Like you just freeze up, and like almost like your body is a protective mechanism is like releasing whatever DMT, whatever the hell that is, right when you're about to die and you're in that prime freak out mode. Because like when you see those videos, it's rare that you see people like moving and like trying to escape and like frantic like fish flopping maneuvers.
Have you seen some of the ones?
I like Taylor.
Have you seen some of the ones where the guys like fight back or like grab an AK or whatever? There are a couple of those. Oh, really? There's
How does
one,
that go down?
There's one where, well, usually the guy dies pretty clever, but there's one where a guy is like sorting through a grave of all of his friends, and the people are like video recording, and they're kind of laughing at him, like telling him to toss like the empty guns up. And as the guy is going through, he finds a rifle that is still fully loaded, and you can hear like all the guys screaming as this guy like comes out and like opens fire on these people, and it's like that's pretty insane. And there's a lot of shooting there, so I imagine he probably made it for a little bit, but.
And then he dies, right?
I want to find one.
Yeah, of course.
But he probably had a positive KD ratio.
Well, I mean, in real life, you only have to kill more than one person.
Yeah.
In real life, like, a positive KD ratio isn't the hardest thing, but not to take away from anybody's
I don't know.
efforts.
Most people in war, I would say it averages out to an even kill death ratio.
Well, it depends on if you count assists or not. How are you doing your
assist?
Yeah, and then it really matters if you're running that perk. What the fuck is it called? Hardline Pro or something like that.
Oh, to get
then 2 assists count for a kill.
Yeah.
What so this is actually what I think is I've seen probably every fucked up video on the internet. I don't know why, but I watch these morbid curiosity. But the most disturbing one is actually one on YouTube for me, and it's I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's the one where the guy is driving and a brick just comes off the back of the truck and it goes through the windshield and strikes his wife. That's like probably the worst. I don't even know why. There's no gore in the video at all, but it is like
I just got a chill thinking about that.
Yeah,
it's awful. Yeah,
holy shit!
Yeah, the
when
noise
you hear
the guy
kid
makes.
The fact that his life in like a millisecond just like it was irreversibly changed through no fault of his own in like such a horrible fucking way, in like such an unlikely way too. Like
I've seen a similar thing where a tire hits a motorcyclist. Like it just comes off a semi or something, bounces once or twice, and then plows in oncoming traffic. So the closing speed is like 100 miles an hour.
Massive force.
And you just done. I think there's a weird thing about watching someone transition from alive to dead. Yeah. Just boom.
Because you always imagine it'll be so dramatic or whatever. And now I get paranoid when I'm standing on the street sometimes and like a car comes across the sidewalk a little bit too close. It's like, fuck, I was almost one of those videos, wasn't I? Like my life could have ended instantly right here.
You think about that like Final Destination shit that starts happening.
Yeah.
It's like maybe like some roofer didn't quite put a shingle on correct and it's got a metal edge or whatever the hell would happen and you end up dying. Another video like that is, have you heard the one where it's like a family in a car, they call the police because their brakes have gone out and they're approaching the end of a road and they're going like full speed and they're trying to like tell the guy what to do and the whole family ends up dying.
Oh no, I actually haven't heard this
They don't have the brakes and they just careen into whatever it was. It's been a while since I've seen.
Probably should have turned the car off, huh?
That's only an audio clip, I think. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't turn the car off. Maybe there's
turn off the car. Oh,
there were a couple.
I didn't even think of that.
Was it Toyota cars or something? There were a couple where the throttle would get stuck open. That was like actually.
It might have been one of those Toyota ones. I think you're right.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if Toyota was the brand or not. I don't
want to conspiracy
screw you guys at a future
that,
sponsor.
I'm not sure that happened. They made a big deal out of. I think it was Priuses that were like staying wide open throttle, and then did that ever actually happen?
Well, the thing is that, like, if you're a car manufacturer and you detect that it's possible, whether it happens once or like a lab test somewhere shows, or like you're doing something and it happens, you have to recall immediately. Because if that happens like twice, your brand, you're talking like multi-million, maybe $1 billion of damage to like your sales, right? Because that's like a story that you never want. Fuck. What was there was a tire company that had to do this Firestone, for a while. Where like, how long did people avoid Firestone tires? I wonder what the damage to their like market share and stock was as a result of that.
Hand,
enormous. I bet they've never recovered.
I guess Jeeps come out of park, some of them, and they can just drive and kill you. And they killed the guy that played Chekhov in Star Trek, the movies.
It was that. It wasn't
Grand
that
Wagoneer or something.
It was in park. It was the Grand Cherokee. It wasn't that it came out of park. It was that he had like left it in neutral or something. Like. It was that it didn't notify you well enough that you weren't in park. He fucked up.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, and then he got pinned against a wall, and they found him dead, pinned against the wall.
Oh.
I looked up the thing with the Priuses. That killed 89 people.
Ooh. Holy shit. That's some scary shit.
Although it does counter Destiny's point.
None of us have heard of that.
That maybe it would be
it's like irreversibly ruins your brand, and you need to recall it on the possibility. Because we're here like, oh, was it 80 people that died? That's no hurricane.
Wait, how many people did you say it killed?
89.
Oh, 89.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you remember, like, I don't remember, like, maybe it was over 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, I don't know exactly. Remember when the most fucked up thing on the internet was 2 girls, 1 cup? At the time you were like, whoa, this is bananas, man. You won't be able to handle it. And now you could, like, have that running almost on CNN and people wouldn't ask questions.
Yeah, the kids and I watched that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healthy fetish relationships. Now, notice how she doesn't fake eating the poop out of the ice cream cone. Now, both of these girls need a bit more fiber in their diet.
And then the vomit. Like, most people didn't watch the whole thing, but they start vomiting back and forth toward the end. Like, she's like eating shit and vomiting the shit into the other girl's mouth, and they're like snowballing it back and forth. I'm
more grossed out by like pimple popping and loogies and snot than I am by that kind of shit.
I kind of like the pimple popping. We've talked about this before. I kind of like it.
I don't get how people like that. Oh, it's gross. You would probably like to try some of those Mexican Andy ones, Kyle.
I don't want to do the popping.
Oh, I thought you wanted to be the popper.
No, no. It just like he needs
Accutane.
Yeah, Accutane. That works like a charm.
That needs to be like his fundraiser goal.
GoFundMe for Accutane.
He doesn't give a shit. I mean, you'd have a better chance getting ice to bathe regularly.
I mean, at that point, with like when your skin's as rough as Mexican Andy's is, like that's gonna get infected at some point. Like there's gonna be some kind of abscess or something. Like this is like a health issue at this point. Your skin's an organ. Like you got to take care of it.
So speaking of that, abscesses, the most disgusting thing I've seen in real life related to that was actually my grandma, and I found out through other research that this is pretty common, unfortunately. Have you ever seen a pressure sore in real life? No. Or ever seen a pressure sore, like an image of it?
I'm going to have to Google this. I haven't seen it.
Oh, careful. It is fucking disgusting. Like, these things are caused by just sitting in one position for too long and not having somebody move you. And
the old live streamer sore.
Bed sore, yeah. It is unbelievable how fucking disgusting these things are.
These look like recluse bites.
Yeah, it's insane. And I saw my grandma get up one time and like the back of her like dressing, her like hospital gown or whatever was open. And I saw this thing and I was like, Grandma, you're fucking, what the fuck is going on in your back? You've got like a fucking hole in you. Oh my God. Fucking disgusting. Yeah, these things are huge.
Yeah, if people watching this, you're going to have to look at it yourself. I looked it up and decided even on this show, I didn't want to share it.
And a lot of these look like they're in the same spot, like right above the ass crack.
Right, yeah.
So there's just a hole. A literal
necrotic,
hole.
Like abscess. Yeah.
Ooh.
If you show me this, I agree with you, Woody. This looks like or I think you said it. It looks like a brown recluse bite.
Like well, because they're similar, I think, right? Like the necrotic tissue ends up dying and then it leaves an abscess once it falls off or whatever. This is literally just caused by pressure, though. And they're all in the same spot because, like, when you're laying down, commonly these are the areas that pressure is applied. And when you're really old, you don't have, like, the wherewithal to move around as much as a younger person. So if people in nursing homes don't come around and move them often, these sores just kind of develop over time.
It's a sad thing
I
to
looked
happen
up
at old age.
the Anton Yelkin, the Chekhov dude, and how he died and such. A combination of Kyle and I being right. So drivers think that they're shifting it into park and it's popping out. And it turns out that it has, I'm trying to get the verbiage they used, an unconventional gear stick design, which causes it to, people think they're shifting into park, but it's actually in neutral. So they're putting the car in neutral, walking around. And in his case, he got crushed. He was alive for hours. And he was crushed. Kyle said it was a wall. In my head, it was a... one of those brick mailboxes, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the car rolled into him, crushed him up against a wall or thing or column, and he was alive for hours and eventually died.
I had no idea he was alive for hours. That makes it so much worse.
Oh, if only he had his comm badge, he could have gotten Kirk or
beep, beep.
Sulu to come help him out.
Beam me out of here.
One of the worst ways that I've seen to like die in a car. Did you guys ever see the kid that died reaching into the back seat getting something out of like a van?
No.
This was so incredibly sad and fucked up. So basically, I'll try to look this up a funny image.
But like lethal?
what happened was the seats like will lean back a certain way if you put pressure on them. So what happened was he just reached over the seat to kind of grab something, and he was reaching kind of far, and his like hips went over the seat, but then the seat ended up coming down, so he couldn't really breathe, but he couldn't push himself up to get over the seat because every time he would like push up, the seat would come up a little. So he tried to push himself out until he got too tired in his arms and shoulders, and then he just suffocated to death and died like in the back of this. It was like a van or something.
He called 911, right?
I don't know if he did or not. I don't
Dude,
think he
there's an audio tape
of
this kid dying, calling 911, saying I'm suffocating. Yeah, and he's in a terrible bad spot, and he says what parking lot he's in. He's in like a parking lot of a shopping mall or something, and the police were unable to find him in time, and he suffocated and died.
In this video, if you go to like 15 seconds, you can kind of see, it sounds like so dumb, like impossible. Or you go to like 10 seconds on the video on this page, and you can see like how like basically what happens is you go to reach like back behind the seat, and it kind of goes down a little, and you can't like push yourself out because it moves with you. And he just kind of got stuck there. Oh, and I think he did call. Yeah, it looks like he did call. But oh man. And he's like, the kid was 16 years old. It's not like it was a senior citizen that died through like some unfortunate shit. It was like oh man.
Yeah, and he was just too squished.
Oh, that video helps you understand the mechanics of it a lot more. Wow.
How fucking horrible. Jeez.
And how could any engineer have like predicted that, to avoid it? Like it's like, you don't even think to do stuff like that.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
It's those kind of things that like make you paranoid in that whole Final Destination way, where it's like, I could be that guy for something else, to where then my entire life is a boiled down
You're
news
the one
story.
guy that died in the most impossible way.
It gets worse, Taylor.
Stepped on the only faulty manhole cover in the whole city and fell right through it.
At some point,
paper mache.
You'll be the fully competent like adult, and you have a 2-year-old trying to kill him or herself constantly, right? All the time. Like, I wonder if I can fit my head between these two spindles by the stairway. What? Hey, look, this thing on the bottom of the pool.
The fire department had to come.
This thing on the bottom of the pool sucks. I'm gonna try and stop the suction with my belly button.
With my ass.
Yeah, with my ass. Yeah. There's idiot children.
No matter how good it feels.
At some point, you'll have to keep these unknowingly suicidal young children alive until they become competent like you. Good
Another
luck.
horrible video. Being a parent now, like I totally understand. Like, and people can be real critical of parents. Like, how could you let your kid die that way? And it's like, dude, like you don't understand. Fucking 3-year-olds are constantly trying to kill themselves at every single fucking moment of their lives. I watched. This is a really heartbreaking video. Really fucking sad. I think it's a Chinese lady has a stroller right fucking next to her, and she's at like a street vendor or whatever. And she reaches forward to talk to the guy, and the stroller moves back like a couple inches, and then it falls over, and like a garbage truck rolls right over this baby's head. And it happens in like the course of like 3 to 5 seconds. And it was like, and the lady turns around, and I like can't even imagine, like your kid is fucking dead. Holy shit, dude. I don't know. I think your kids are a little bit older, Woody, but like my son is 7 years old, and like I'm trying to imagine like letting him walk home from school on his own. I don't know how old he's gonna be when I'm okay with this happening. Like, because I'm just thinking like it's 3 o'clock, he's off school, it's 3:15, he should be home by now. What am I gonna do the day that like he's not home on time? Like, holy fucking shit! Like, I don't even know like how I'm gonna deal with that. Ugh.
Yeah, probably freak out. Sounds so stressed. That's something that you don't think about until you have kids. Kyle and I don't have children.
Yeah.
And so, like, to us, it's more like, annoying kid in public, whatever. But you don't have the parent brain of like, don't touch that. You over there, stop. Fucking stop.
Dude.
Or like as a teen, I'm thinking of like teenage privacy is very important. A teenager needs to be able to grow and develop on their own. It's very important that they have their independence, blah, blah, blah. As a parent, it's like, I need to fucking chip my kid. I want a goddamn GPS on this motherfucker so I know where he is at every point in his life. Like,